Ladies and gentlemen, what up? This is your weekly outlook and prediction for stocks and crypto. This video is not financial advice, should not be taken as such. Please do your own research and due diligence for buying any stock or crypto asset. Now, with that being said, I'm going to hop in the charts, facts, data, showing you guys what I'm looking at as a trader and investor and sharing it all with you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, AMC and GME have a huge problem. And SPY and NASDAQ, the overall market, is about to do the unexpected, and what everybody thinks is going to happen isn't what's going to happen. I'm going to break that all down in this video, show you guys what the charts are telling me and how a lot of people are about to get faked out and shaked out. There's going to be a lot of volatility coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and the macro's looking crazy. Let's start breaking it all down. Now, AMC and GME. Big problem here, guys. We're getting down to our floor, okay? If you guys zoom out, you guys can see there are a ton, and I mean a ton of buy orders here for GME on multiple time frames, sitting from starting about like 22.50 all the way down to about like 19.25, as low as maybe even 18 bucks here on some of the time frames. So all throughout here, there's a big space on multiple time frames of buy orders. You guys can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we're sitting at 20.42 all the way down to like 19.50. And you guys can see here on the smaller time frames, you guys can see there's a lot of buy orders here at 21.48 all the way down to 18.90. So you guys can see there's a big range where there's a lot of buy orders here for GME. Why are there a lot of buy orders there? Because this is a liquidity zone. GME had this big push to the upside after bottoming out and has used these levels of about $20 to $18 as an absolute floor. If we lose that level, you're going to see GME dump to the downside. But in my personal opinion, like I said last week, I do not believe we're going to lose that level. I'm telling you what's going to happen if I'm wrong. We would absolutely dump if we lose $18 to $20 range. You'll see a dump down towards like 15, 16 bucks, maybe even lower. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. There's too many buy orders here. I think what we're setting up for is an actual recovery here on the meme stocks. I believe not only GME, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm not trying to spread hopium, I'm just telling you guys what the charts are telling me, but also AMC. You guys can see the RSIs getting oversold here on AMC on the bigger time frames. RSI is getting very close to oversold here on some of these bigger time frames and is oversold. GME just came out of that oversold territory after bouncing off that 97 floor. I told you guys we're not going to lose $18 to $20. I believe that is going to be the case. I'm telling you what's happening if I'm going to be wrong. But I believe what we're actually going to see was a recovery this week. I think we saw this flush down, and we're about to see a decent bounce up. If you guys look here on the 30-minute time frame here for AMC, you guys can see 30-minute in particular. You guys can see we have this green MACD here. Bollinger Band's extremely tight. If we push up back above like 242, you're going to see a nice pop to the upside towards 245. And if we get back above 245, we could push all the way up for this gap fill. There's a gap fill here at 259 to 260 here on AMC. It's on multiple time frames. It's going to need to get filled, and I believe AMC is going to push back up to fill it. Now the question is, once we push back up, are we going to reject down? Because that's what happened here for AMC. AMC has a floor here. If you guys look, we made a little bit of a floor here. We broke down. We had this push up, but now we broke down and lost our floor. But we have an all-time low here of 238. If we lose 238, you're going to see AMC dump down towards $2 or maybe even below $2, like $1.80. I do not believe that's what's going to be happening right now. We also have to worry about the December 10th vote. I've already told you guys about all of that. I'm not getting into that details in this video because it'll make the video too long. But guys, you can check my other videos for more details on that. But guys, if we lose that 238, it's going to be a problem. And if GME loses $18 to $20, it's going to be a problem. And this is why I'm saying AMC and GME have a major problem. Now, despite all the doom and gloom, I think we are going to see a push up. But again, like I said, the question is, once AMC pushes up, can it break above this overall trend line? Make sure you guys like and subscribe because I go live. I show you guys these charts. I have the trend lines. I have the levels. And AMC needs to break above this overall trend line, ending this downtrend. That way we can begin to push to the upside and potentially bottom. Now, until we break above the sloping support and resistance, I cannot say that AMC bottomed, and it will keep continuing down. That's why you guys need to like and subscribe. Again, I post this stuff all the time. I go live all the time, so you guys can track this live. I have the trend line. The prices do change, but right now, AMC needs to make a clean break above $2.60 at least. Again, it changes because it's sloping support and resistance in order to see that recovery and push up that we are looking for. Now, we could potentially see a green week here for AMC if we do get that recovery. But I'm telling you right now, if we pop up and reject from that trend line, we are going to continue down. So this is why AMC and GME have a major plays in play right now, major technicals in play right now, and we need to be on our P's and Q's because a major move is definitely coming. It's either going to be a decent pop to the upside or a dump down. I believe we're actually going to see a pop to the upside in my personal opinion. You guys can see more evidence here for our MACD for GME starting to get green here on that 4-hour time frame. Also, cost of borrow slowly creeping up for both of the meme stocks. Again, it does fluctuate, but AMC, you guys can see cost of borrow moving to the upside. Again, we want it 1% or higher, but this is showing liquidity potentially drying up. Also, if cost of borrow is higher, it's going to be more expensive for them to short, so that's a good thing. Right now, at time of recording, 2.4 million short shares to short. That could change as early as Monday morning. And again, they're kind of low on GME as well, only 1.9 million. So they're low on both of the meme stocks, and cost of borrow is rising. This is showing liquidity is potentially drying up. You guys can see cost of borrow right now for GME at time of recording 0.69%, and it did spike up as well. Both of the cost of borrows for AMC and GME spiked up. They pulled back a little bit, but now they're heading back to the upside, which will be bullish overall, especially if we can see cost of borrow of 1% or higher. So cost of borrow is often a metric that we look at and keep a track of here on this channel. But again, like I said, multiple buy orders here for GME as well. This is why I believe that even if we did come down lower, you're going to see a push back to the upside here for GME. AMC looking like it's potentially going to make a bullish move looking here at that 30-minute time frame. And again, RSI is getting oversold or close to oversold here on multiple time frames here for AMC. On the daily time frame, we're almost even getting to that level as well. So if we did flush down and lose that key level, I believe we'd get oversold and see a bounce back to the upside. But the question is, are we going to lose that level and continue down, or are we going to be able to bottom here around that range? Because right now we did retest basically the same level. We're about a penny off 239, okay? But if we lose that 238 level, again, you're going to dump down to those price targets I gave you earlier. And if GME loses that key level of $18 to $20, you'll go down to the price targets that I gave you guys earlier as well. Also, you guys can see we're outside the bands. GME, same story. RSI almost oversold on the daily time frame. Once RSI gets oversold, that's normally an indication of a buy signal, huge buy signal. So we've been beat down a lot. I believe these stocks are ready for a bounce. Now, if the overall market crashes, we will see a flush down with that. But I explained how you could see a potential move to the upside if margin calls came into play in other videos. I'm not going to get into all the mechanics of that right now. But again, that is something you can keep in mind as well. But as far as AMC, we do have to worry about that vote. There's not much news going on right now. Some people are reporting that the symbol for AMC did change on Fidelity. So that's something that's going around right now. But as far as AMC and GME, kind of quiet on the home front. So this is what we're looking at. I do think we're going to see a recovery to the upside. AMC potentially going to a high of $2.60. If we're able to break and hold that, you're going to see a continuation to the upside. And then GME potentially going up to 22.01. If GME is able to break above and hold 22.1, that could be a potential sign that we're going to recover. And then GME also has a sloping support and resistance and multiple gap fills to the upside as well that are need to get filled. And these gaps are on the daily time frame as well. Gaps go as high as 28.13 to 28.45 and as high as 29.50 to 29.65, ladies and gentlemen. So again, it is not over till it's over. GME looking like it could see a little bit more downside towards that $18 level, but we're potentially going to see a spring to the upside on both of the meme stocks, potentially giving us a green week as well. This is what we're looking at for AMC and GME. Let's go ahead and move into SPY and the overall market and show you guys what's going on there. And also, again, the overall market really controls things, but I want to show you guys why the market is not going to do what a lot of people think. Now, I told you guys if SPY flushes out, it could take AMC and GME with it, but look at this bullish hammer candle in the daily time frame. I believe that SPY is actually about to recover, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is going to shock a lot of people. Everybody thinks it's going to dump. There's a lot of fear being pushed right now. We are already in extreme fear right now at time of recording, and they are just pushing out max fear, max fear, max fear. Again, you must do the opposite of the herd. You're seeing multiple articles across the board pushing out more fear, talking about bearishness. You must do the opposite of the herd. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. Okay, so again, they're pushing out max fear. What are the charts telling us? Let's use our facts and data to keep us grounded. You guys can see we have this bullish hammer candle right here on the daily time frame. You guys can see the MACDs are starting to curl up. Yes, they are red, but some of these lower hourly time frames, not the 4 hour, but the 2 hour time frames green. You guys can see 1 hour time frames green. You guys can see we had this nasty push to the upside after RSI got oversold on these bigger time frames, which is normally an indication of buyers stepping in. We're now making this kind of bullish consolidation right here. If SPY is able to hold 670.10, 670.20, that key level there of support and resistance, you're going to see a push up. And I believe that SPY is going to go as high as 676.60 this week. And then after that target, if we break and hold that, we have this gap fill here at 680.95 to 681.68. So I believe that SPY is actually going to push to the upside, in my personal opinion, as high as those two targets that I just gave you. Now you guys can also see NASDAQ as well has gap fills to the upside. So I believe that NASDAQ is also going to recover. Now, once this happens, I believe that bulls are going to so bears are about to get faked out, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, and that's why I said shake a lot of people out. So it's going to rally. Bulls are going to get excited again. And then once we get near the all-time highs, and the key that I'm going to be looking for is a lower low, I believe that NASDAQ will fill these gaps and then drop down. I do not believe that this crash is over, in my personal opinion. I believe that there's things going on in the background. Remember when this all started, we were hearing whispers about liquidity, but they tried to keep things quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, there is definitely something going on in the background. Also, the government has been shut down way too long. This is going to really start to affecting things as it continues to grind on, and it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight. That is definitely going to start affecting things, and we have to even ask ourselves, without getting too crazy into conspiracy, why is the government shut down right now? Why is it taking so long? Normally they resolve these things very, very quickly, but they seem content leaving it shut down. We're also seeing whispers about banks, liquidity. We're getting all of this bearish news again. That's why I think we're going to see a little bit of a bounce, because we're already in max fear. But I believe then we're going to get a fake out back to the downside. Basically, when you have these flushes out, you get a push back to the upside so people can exit. But then I believe we're going to see a correction down, because I believe the overall macro is telling us that this is about time for us to actually see correction down. You guys can see so many gap fills to the downside here on NASDAQ. I believe a bigger correction is coming, but not before we see this recovery. And I believe SPY is actually going to have a green week, in my personal opinion. I believe SPY and NASDAQ are going to be recovering this week. Now, SQQQ made absolute moves. You guys can see it's getting bullish here. This is an index that moves inverse of NASDAQ, okay? So when NASDAQ goes up, this goes down. When NASDAQ goes down, this goes up. You guys can see it's building bullish momentum here on the weekly time frame. Bands are getting tight. It's definitely setting up for a move, but I believe we're going to see a move down, which means the market's going to go up, filling the gaps to the downside, and then coming back to fill these gaps to the upside here. And that's going to be the exact opposite here on NASDAQ. NASDAQ's going to come up and fill the gaps to the upside, and then come down, fill the gaps to the downside. That's going to push SPY up. NASDAQ's really been the leader of all of this, the AI bubble. That's really been driving all of this. Also, the way that we're concentrated into the indexes is a sign that's a bubble. A lot of people are saying it isn't a bubble, but a lot more people are starting to come to consensus that this is a bubble, and it's most likely going to be popping here soon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we did call for this downside on SPY. You guys can see we have this bear flag, then we had this bearish breakdown. We called for all of this. Now I'm calling for a recovery. I think we're going to push up as high as like 680 in my personal opinion, maybe even as high as like 681.55. Let's see exactly where this gap fill is here. 681.55. 57 around that range, and we could see SPY pushing that high and then start to come down. But it could even go higher than that. We'll have all the support and resistance here on my chart, so make sure you guys like and subscribe. That way you know the key levels, and I will give you guys those key levels. I will tell you what, though, if SPY is able to break above 683.78 and use that as support, it could definitely make a decent pop to the upside, and I believe that we're going to see a decent move up here for SPY, coming close to all-time highs. I don't think we're going to break it. We might break it shortly, but then I believe we're going to see a correction down. I'm going to be looking for a lower high. That's going to be a key. But I think once we get up to these higher ranges, that's where we're going to see the correction down. But I think SPY is going to actually have a significant rally here. So this is what we're looking at for SPY in the overall market. It's going to do the unexpected, shake a lot of people out. People are going to be like, oh, no, I thought it was going to crash. And then bulls are going to get excited. And then those bulls are also going to get bull trapped. So we're going to get a bear trap here and then a bull trap up here, in my personal opinion, shaking and baking everyone, but not the DZ fam, because we have the charts that got us. So again, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and go to BTC Crypto, show you guys what's going on there, and then we will wrap up this weekly outlook and prediction. Bitcoin showing signs of recovery as well. You guys can see we are bottoming off of this key level here of 100,000. We're holding those level, and I told you guys, as long as we hold 100,000, we're gonna be good. Now if we did lose 100,000, BTC will flush. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. If I was wrong, the technicals say we will flush, but we have buy orders here at that 100,000 level all the way down to about 95 to 94k. This is on multiple time frames as well. Some of the buy orders that we did have got ate up, but we still have buy orders here at that 100k level. People are willing to step in at that level, accumulate at that level. BTC bands getting tight right now in the 4-hour time frame. Green MACD, RSI trending up. These are all indications of bullish momentum building. I believe that even coming here into Sunday and Monday, you're going to start to see Bitcoin recover. Right now, it's basically flat, but we also saw, and this is what I think we're definitely going to see recovery, a decent recovery in the altcoins. Look how well ADA bounced off of that 50-cent level. We went a little bit lower than that. I called for the 50-cent level. We went a little bit lower than that, but you guys can see we got a clean bounce off of that. Look how nicely Ethereum is bouncing off of this big macro accumulation, this big trend line here. This could simply be a retest where we see a spring to the upside, and if the overall market recovers and BTC is not getting sold off of this liquidity and dragging the rest of the crypto market down, you could definitely see a recovery to the upside here for the altcoins and cryptocurrency, Bitcoin as a whole, guys. So look, what I'm looking at here, again, especially if SPY recovers, is a move back up. Now, that doesn't mean we won't come up and double top or anything like that. I will point out, though, that Bitcoin was able to hold up while SPY was making lower highs or lower lows. I do apologize. SPY was making lower lows and lower highs. Bitcoin was able to make higher lows. You guys can see that right there. And then, of course, while SPY was making lower lows, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower highs as well, BTC, the main thing we're looking at is the lows, though. BTC was able to make higher lows. So, again, holding up, holding that key level, not decoupling, but able to at least hold support. So if we did see SPY flush down, it might be able to hold 100K. Now, depending on how crazy the crash gets or how much SPY and NASDAQ flush, BTC would be pulled back. Again, it's a very liquid asset. It gets sold off as liquidity, in my personal opinion. I don't think any retail person's looking at SPY and saying, oh, no, the market's crashing, I'm going to sell my BTC. I think this is one of the things having institutions in BTC is that big players, hedge funds, are going to be using it as liquidity. And then, of course, once the market recovers, they buy it right back. But they're able to easily convert it into USD, which can be placed as margin. So, again, very, very liquid asset. And also, it settles instantly. That's the thing about the blockchain. So that's why BTC is one of the most liquid assets. Obviously, there's altcoins as well that are faster, but crypto is very, very liquid. Now, again, 1 hour time frame also showing signs of recovery. As long as BTC stays above this trend line, again, this is another reason why you need to like and subscribe. This means we are in the bull market. Remember, BTC is going to be controlling the altcoin. So if BTC pulls back, you're going to see altcoins will pull back. Right now, crypto fear and extreme greed, or extreme fear, I do apologize. It's an extreme fear, as you guys can see. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. Use this as a gauge to do the opposite of the herd, not financial advice. So you want to be maybe picking up when people are scared and then taking profit when people are greedy. This is a great way to gauge what the herd is doing and do the opposite of a herd using the fear and greed index. So again, we are in extreme fear, just to make that clear, not extreme greed. We are in extreme fear here on the cryptocurrency market as well as the stock market. Now, again, with BTC pulling back, you guys are seeing a little bit pullback on altcoins. Some of them are getting hit heavy as they did get major pumps. But overall, most altcoins are up from their lows. Again, coins like Cardano ADA are up off their lows significantly. ETH coming up off of its lows. It's a little bit bigger market cap, but some of these lower cap coins are decently up off of their lows. Me personally, I just focus on the top coins. If you go ahead and look at XRP real quick, we'll just go ahead and check out XRP and see what's going on with XRP. You guys can see XRP has some decent buy orders here at $2.21 all the way down to $2.08, getting a clean bounce off of that. So people are definitely stepping in around those ranges. As you guys can see, we definitely want to see it get back above $2.50. Anything under $2.50 is a buy order, a buy in my personal opinion. Right now, it's about $2.28 here at time of recording, having those buy orders down around $2.22. So that is where smart money is buying at $2.22 and $2.08. Again, they're trying to pump fear, but people are accumulating. So this is what we're looking at. Again, BTC is most likely going to recover, pushing up to about 104. If Bitcoin was able to get above the key level of 109,500, that would be a definite sign of recovery. And if it holds that level, it would be able to push up rapidly. So do be prepared for a potential recovery, especially if the overall market recovers as I'm expecting here in the cryptocurrency market. So this is what we're looking at, guys, for the weekly outlook and prediction. It's looking like we're going to see mostly a bullish week. Again, bullishness in the first half of the week is what I think we're going to see, and then bearishness in the later half of the week. So just be aware of that. But this is your weekly outlook and prediction of stocks and crypto. Was a long one, guys, 21 plus minutes. I appreciate you guys if you watched the end. If you watched the end, hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know. You guys can check out that merch store. I'm rocking some of the merch right now. We also have a Discord, $100 for a lifetime invite, exclusive technicals, predictions, and information, and a community that tries to help each other out. If you guys want to get involved with that, hit me up on my email, DataZeroOfficial5, linked in the comment section and description below. Payment made via PayPal or Cash App, but once you make payment, I'll send you the link. But if you don't want to do any of that, hit the like button, subscribe to help for absolutely free. And as always, y'all, have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out, fam.